right, so we are back, and today we are going to go for the building and resource system. So how is that going to work? That is a good question. That is a good question. Not really sure. Like first, where did we leave off? In status, we committed everything. Nothing changed since. All right. We do have overlay, and so we can see that we have two houses, road network, and the wanderer moving around. Quite straightforward. So next, we are going to have those wanderer carry resources. In order to do that, we will create a new building that is going to be the well. And the well is going to be a building. So like everyone, it's going to have a base. And it's going to implement our grid base, and it's going to be returning a W. Actually, no, because we already have W for worker, so like it's going to be, what could be representing a well? A plus. All right. Too many errors because that does missing the return type. All right. Better. Now we can try to place a well. Let's go here, and we're going to say the well is going to be between the two houses, maybe. Yeah, let's say it's going to be between the two houses. So like well, WE, right? WE is going to be a new well. So similar to the other, new base. I really don't like this, but let's get that fixed real quick. We do have the new base, so like might as well just do like a c.new house as well, and so that way we can get rid of all this, and we can just say it will be easier. And something with new road, we can see this, except that this time we have many of them. See that new road, and it's going to be, yes, like this. Let's go to road, and this time it's going to be controller. And it's not going to be a base in XY. And we can say like a c.new base of X and Y. Same thing for the house. So we can see up C controller X and Y int c.new base of X and Y. And so same thing for well func new well X and Y int that is going to return a well, and that is going to be well WE return WE. That's going to have a base which is going to be c.new base controller like this, new base X and Y WE w.set of WE. All right, that should be compiling properly. It does not. Why doesn't it? Because it is not used. All right, of course, because we need to tick it. And because we don't have any tick, we will implement that. So func WWell tick string, no string, just tick. Okay, so we have that plus right there. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the plus. Let's see, like, can we have UTF-8, well, water. Mm. Nope. Yep. What could we be using? Like I don't know, was the box drawing. Like that could actually work pretty well. Let's go to our well and our rendering, and let's see if that works. That works. That is much better. So well, now that we have this, we can do. As the issue that there's a it takes two. Wait, what? Yep, that is not going to work because it takes two space. That is a bit frustrating. What else can be could we be using? Something like this. An umbrella. Let's try the umbrella. That will do the trick for now. We can improve over it later. So now that we have our umbrella, let's go back to our main, and we're going to place it properly this time, and we're going to place it on top of that. So it's going to be in 1, and it's going to be in, x and y. So like x is going to be more like 10, or maybe 12, and y is going to be 1. All right? So it means that it is next to a road. The wanderers are going to go around. So we have a well. Now, what do we want that well to do? Well, we want the well to receive employment, and when it has employment, it's going to distribute water. We don't really have a concept of terrain just yet, so like we are going to assume that there's water everywhere, and that there is no limit in the amount of water that it can distribute. However, we will probably have a limit on the worker that is going to carry the water, because like that may be difficult for someone to carry too much, but we'll see how it goes. Let's see. We are going to need employment. So employees int, and I also can say that the required employee is always going to be the same. Maybe we can make it's going to be hard-coded. Tick. We can say that const required employees, employee count equal at let's say 1. Let's say just 1 for now. And we can say that if employee employees is lower than the required employees count, then we're done. Otherwise, there's nothing to do. Now, how can we actually increase that amount of thing? That is a good question. I have no idea just yet, but if we look at the worker is doing an action here at the tick. The tick is going to be moving. So we can actually move that, into a w.move to move action or action move. No, just action move. That's going to be the actual action. Func w worker action move. That's going to do all this. So that's the whole thing. Like once we want to do an action move, we increase our wait tick, and we do this. Now, once it's moved, we can actually look at what it's going to do. So right now, the only worker is going to be the worker from the house, and is going to distribute employment. Now we can also, in our well, we're going to actually update our render. we can say like I'm going to do the same check here. So like the row can put that thing. Well, we had employee count. We can place it as part of this. Up. All right. And we can say that if that is the case, we return. So basically, we don't do anything here. But in our thing, we can say that if the same thing, employees is lower than the to the required employee count, at this point, when we return, well, we stand up. Let's return just a dot. So if we have enough employees, we return the umbrella. If we don't have enough, we have the dot. Should be straightforward enough. Now, in our worker are going to carry the employees. House, we actually don't really use the house at the moment, but that is because it is here. House. We don't really need it so far, but we will probably need it later. So in order to produce a resource employee, we're going to actually go first to the house. And the house is going to produce employee. So I'm not really sure if it's a good idea, but right now we could say that a worker is an employee. I don't really like that too much because there is a concept of resource. No, it's not a good idea. Like available employee. Because employee is going to be the resource. So when we start, we always start with a given one, and once we're going to later down like actual levels, we will change that value. But for now, we can say for one house, we have one employee. And when we create the worker, we're going to create it with a resource. And that is going to be available employee as well. And we're not going to pass it. Sure, we can. We can say like available employee is a house dot employee. No, we don't really care about it actually because we already have the reference on the house. So we do have the reference on the house has available employees. Now when a worker moves, after moving, it's going to basically check, do I need to do something? So basically here we're going to look at the neighbors. Move, perform actions. What is it going to do? Once we're here, we're going to look at everything that is around us, regardless of the type. I mean, the type should be like at least the type should be like a type building that requires a resource. So in our case, we actually like look for wells. One step at a time. Of course, that's not going to be suitable at scale, but let's see like a filter type of star well of our neighbors. And then we're going to basically look at all of them. So we can say for WE, a range of that. So if there is none, like nothing is going to happen. But if there is, we can say like first if W dot house dot available employee equal to 0. Basically, like this guy should not even be there if that is the case. So if we're here and if we don't have any available employee, like we should stop moving. So we can say basically w.get dot star road dot worker equal to nil. Basically, if we don't have anyone, we don't have anything to do. Then we move, and for each one of them, we're going to do w dot employee. Why is w does not want this? Let's select, do we still compile? Oh, because I forgot the comma here. Okay, that makes sense. W dot employees plus plus. And of course we can do if so if we are here, we know that we do have as employee, and then we can say like w.house.available employees minus minus, and of course if w.house.available employee is 0, we can break. Let's see if that's going to work. Pretty good. Pretty good. What we also want to do is that basically like if w dot employees is equal to require of w dot required employees, at this point we want to continue to the next one because we know that we don't have anything to do here. And let's see, we have the employee and we don't do anything. So we have a concept of building, we have a concept of resource. Now we just need to make it a bit more generic, so that way like we don't hard code that the worker goes to a well and that there is employees and things like this. We will want to need basically a way like to produce arbitrary resource and to require arbitrary resources. And of course, like for the well, that's not going to work too well. But okay, let's start with the let's say let's start with the resource type. So we want to have some kind of resource type. So resource package main. We would say like a type resource. Doesn't be an int const or even just resource type. Const resource type iota, and we can say resource type employee, and then we have resource type water. Those are the two that we have right now. They are not used, that is why it is complaining, but that's not a big deal. What we will want to do is we want to have the house to be able to produce employees. But before producing employees, maybe better to start with a well than to require employee. So maybe we can say like again, I have no idea what I'm doing at this point, but we're trying and trying. So let's see, like say like consume resource. Consume resource, that is going to be what if we consume the resource of a worker? And then a worker, we can say that a worker will always have only one resource. We can add more later maybe, but we can say that it's going to have like a resource type. It's going to be a resource type and a resource count int. So it takes a worker, and here we can say that if which is a ticker, is not going to do anything. We don't really do anything in that tick for now. So if the employees that we have is greater or equal to the required count, we don't do anything. Otherwise, we look if w dot no, excuse me, that is y w w. If the resource type is not resource type employee, we have nothing to do either. Then if w dot resource count for equal at 0, or for if it is lower than 1, we have nothing to do either. And finally, we can say we grab that resource. Minus, minus, and w dot employee plus, plus. That is actually pretty decent. So it means that once we are in our house, the house is going to have available employees. So that is going to be the resource of the house. Like we will change that in a bit. But for now, once we have our worker, the worker has a house. And we can say that the ordered worker, dot resource type, and that is defined by the house, so that's the resource type employee, and the h dot worker dot resource count equal at 1, because why not? So that way we can actually get rid of the available employee, because that is going to be the one we have here. That looks rather decent. Now once we are in our neighbors, we don't want this. We are going to basically like do or maybe we could put that as part of the tick, but w dot consume resource of w, and so that goes away. That goes away. And if we loop w dot available, no, resource count, break. Yes, so here it's a resource count. Let's slow that down a little bit. All right. So now we have something slightly more generic. Now the issue is that we're always talking about a well. And if we want to have something that is not a well, it's going to be slightly more annoying. So basically we can just make that an interface. Oops, let's go back to our resource. Type resource consumer interface consume resource of a worker. And here we can say, instead of WE, we can say resource consumer. And that should still be working. It does not. Because resource consumer has no field consume resource. Is that a joke? Consume resource, that is why. And it still works just fine. Let's make it slightly faster. I like it. I like it. I'm not really sure why it blinks sometimes. Oh well, it blinks, it blinks. Not a big deal. So, now we have that is quite generic. It means that every worker is carrying. Not really, I don't really like the fact that we have a house anymore, because now, if we want to have a well, we should not have a house. Is that still going to work? Yes. So we don't need the house, but we do probably need like the building that it came from, at least at some point. Let's change that. We are here. Okay. Cool. Next, what is next? So now we have a well. We have that consumes the resource of employment. We can actually place another well just to make sure that it works. And if we place another well, oops. Come on. W2. Let's place it in right in front, 5. W2.tick. We actually said like we don't even need to tick those. But it's fine, I mean, might as well. Might as well. Cool, cool, cool. So now we have all this. What does that mean? It means that we would like to produce that. So like in order to know if we have water or not, we're going to have just a different background for the H. Actually, we can even like now that we have this page, we could have a search for a house, like a house. Nope. Isn't like maybe a search or something? UTF-8 house. Is it going to be a single space, or is it going to be the double space? Let's take a look. It's going to be double space. Like all those icons are like a double space. It's a bit annoying. Liquid building, house building. This looks good. But why is it? It's the same one. Nope. So like let's stick with simple ones. That is going to be our house. All right. I was pretty sure there was like better ones. That looks actually better. It's always the same, just different fonts. All right, no big deal, no big deal. So from there we will see like ANSI background color. True color. All right. Let's see, does it work? That is not what I expected. Something a bit simpler, maybe. I believe this was a good one. 1p bracket pg2 red, green, blue. Okay, I believe this will be like the actual example that I'm looking for. All right, so now we have this. Okay, if we say 0 to 55, okay, so now with that we can actually control the color. Let's do that in Go. That will be more suitable for our use case. Up, instead of true color, it is going to be this guy, and because we used /3 to be consistent with the other one. And because, of course, we don't want to have a new line here. Awesome, so now we have a greenhouse. Let's actually make it blue instead. RGB, so the blue should be the last one. Give me a second, I'll be right back. All right, that blue is actually like not that good. Let's see, like turquoise RGB. Let's see. Yeah, that's maybe a better 40EED0, but that is going to be decimal. 175, 238, 238. Let's see that. Which was what? 175, 238, 238. Maybe that will be better. That looks slightly better. What if we put that as a background instead of the foreground? We don't really see the house anymore. But what if we put the house in black? So in order to do that, it's going to be 38, 0, 0, 0. Nah, I prefer, I think it was better like to just have the house itself in the foreground as turquoise. Oops. All right. Why do you have a dot like this? I guess I made a mistake in the controller or in the main. I put it as a 6. No. A 5. I guess it was just an artifact. What? What is going on here? Okay, better. Better. However, like, yep. No, that's fine, that's fine. Let's go back to the house, and we're going to say that if the house is not watered, it's going to be a house in red. So if h dot if true, I'll say that that's okay, and that is going to be just a pure red, so 255, 0, 0. That is a bright red. Actually, like maybe I should also do like a ANSI bold. So here 31 is the red, 1 is bold, and 4 is underlined. So let's see if we can put it in bold. Yep, it looks better in bold. And if you want to underline it as well, maybe. Not sure if that's really needed, but not too shabby. Cool. Next, what do we do? We are here, so we are going to actually add in a similar way as the other one. We're going to say that the house is going to implement the consume resource. And it's going to take a resource. What do we do for the well? I forgot already. It's going to take as a worker. And here we will say that it's going to need water and required water. So when we create the house, we can say that required water is going to be of 1. And let's start with that. And then we can do something very similar. We can say that if h.water is greater or equal at h.required water, we have nothing to do. If the worker resource type is not water, we don't have anything to do. And if the worker does not have enough resource, we have nothing to do either. Although that should not happen, but then we can do like w.resource count minus and w.h.house, .water plus. Let's see how that goes. Of course, like in the render, where is the render? Now we can say that condition here. If there's enough water, no, if there's not enough water in red, and it's always red, of course. Because why? Because our well does not produce a worker. So here we're going to do something similar to the house, and when we tick, we're going to do something very, very similar to that. Except that instead of being h dot, it's going to be w dot, and the way so then it's going to need a worker, worker. And we're going to say that if it does have a worker, we're going to tick that worker. And we can also like give the worker a color, but we will do that in just one bit. We pick up a random element, that is good. The resource type this time is going to be of resource type water. That's a bit strange though, because the worker like watered the houses before. And like boss, like that should not be possible. Well, let's give the worker a color. New worker. Color. String. Color string, so we can do like when we render it. Where do we render our worker? Actually, we never do, but in the rod we do. In the rod, we can say like that worker dot render. And we can say render Frank W star worker render string, and we can say that if w dot color equal at empty, return w. Otherwise, return or house that thing. And it's not a house, this time it's a worker. Okay. Now, once we are going to be in, now the house is still going to be blank, but when we're in the well, oops, in the well, I say, the worker is going to be blue. So it's RGB. And in the worker, we're going to slow it down a little bit with our tick. This. Okay. Now let's see. That is a bit concerning. Oh, yes, because of course we need to check in advance in our tick, in the well, we should not produce anything. If, oops, if w dot requirement applicant and w dot employee is lower than requirement, we return. So now we can speed it up again. That is a bit frustrating because it looks like the color didn't work. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have anything. It doesn't have a color. Why doesn't it have a color? Let's go back to the well. We're in the well. Why did the color not work? We create the worker. The worker has a color. Or maybe just I messed up something. Okay, so well, yes, I'm pretty sure I messed up something. Yes, okay, that is reassuring. It means that in the road I didn't save. Nope, it's not that. That is a bit annoying. probably just a typo somewhere. If we take that whole thing and make it a W. Okay. If we remove those two, it should still be working fine. Okay, no, it's not. Ah, okay. It's because there should not be a threading here. All right, that is better. And the color, instead of being, well, the color can be indeed the same one as the house. That is well done. 2, 3, 8, 2, 3, 8, 1. And just for the sake of it, we can also say that it takes some time for an employee to get if not, we can say like if w dot wait tick wait tick int is greater to 0, then we return w dot wait tick minus minus. Otherwise, we say that w dot wait tick equals 10. Yes, that's not going to work. All right, that is better. So perfectly. So now we do have a resource system. We have a new building, which is a well that starts as a dot. We can actually make it a bit better now that we have color. We can do it a bit similar than instead of dot, we're going to use the same thing. If there's not anything, we're going to make it red, and if it's not red, we're going to just make it green. That would be a bit nicer. RGB. Sounds good. So now we have an additional building. Excuse me. We have resources. I guess next time we can add like a bazaar and food and other resources. But that's going to be good for today. Thank you for watching.